The colossal rainforest on the planet, harboring a vast diversity with 1/10 of Earth's species of animals and plants.
The rainforest stretches endlessly, appearing as a vast tropical wilderness. But that is only half the truth. The ecosystem here thrives on an intricate relationship between water and dense forestation.
Annually, the aquatic and terrestrial worlds intersect as waters submerge parts of the forest.
Spanning nearly 7 million square kilometers, the Amazon basin is a staggering natural expanse.
The landscape is not uniform but consists of a wide variety of natural areas, from floodplains to high forests. There are more species of animals hidden in this gigantic green than we will ever know. Every morning, howler monkeys loudly welcome the day.
By establishing themselves, they assert their presence and lay claim to sections of the forest. At times, their vocalizations inadvertently attract predatory or dangerous attention.
The harpy, known as the world's most powerful bird of prey, reigns supreme in these skies.
She could effortlessly capture one of the swift howler monkeys.
The harpy's uniquely crafted wings enable precise navigation through the dense canopy of the forest. Their sturdy legs, resembling the thickness of a man's wrist, are paired with fangs unmatched by any eagle. She can drag away prey.
These creatures bear a weight equivalent to their own size. This time, however, the bird only landed on a branch. The harpy needs leaves as material for its nest, which it builds in one of the largest trees in the rainforest. The birds ingeniously use fresh branches to enhance both the comfort and appearance of their nests. Many plants produce toxic leaves as a defense mechanism to deter animals from consuming them. Harpies are likely to utilize the poisons within the leaves as a natural means to repel insects.
Amidst the endless green of the Amazon, landscape diversity seamlessly blends, from towering highland forests to flood-stricken woods along the edges of countless rivers and lakes.
Many of the trees in the rainforest defend themselves with chemical substances against unwanted visitors. Some woolly monkeys, suffering from severe parasitism, might find such a remedy incredibly appealing.
The woolly monkeys are consistently welcomed with open arms on fig trees teeming with life. The sweet fruits are full of tiny seeds.
The woolly monkeys play a vital role in ensuring fig trees successfully proliferate across the forested terrain. For the trees, it is especially important to keep their leaves. Toxic or foul-tasting substances serve an essential evolutionary purpose in the ecosystem.
At the same time, the fruits should be as appetizing as possible.
Interestingly, some fruits also intriguingly influence the romantic dynamics among forest inhabitants.
Like that of the lowland rock cock. Every morning the taps are filled with fruit. They then converge with other radiant orange-plumed males at a shared and bustling courtship site.
Each male sits on a branch
and takes up a small free space on the ground.
Thanks to the plentiful energy derived from abundant fruits, the rock roosters possess the stamina to spend the majority of their day focused on intricate courtship displays. In an attempt to dominate, they engage in efforts to frighten one another away from perching on coveted branches. A solitary, plainly feathered female makes her understated entrance into the scene.
Then the roosters immediately go to their stage. They suddenly seem to have fallen silent and frozen. Fluffy, they wait, hoping that the female will come to them.
In between, they try their best. They disrupt or undermine the audacious courtship attempts of their avian competitors.
The female examines the offer.
Optimizing their visual appeal, the males seek sunlit perches that help enhance their appearance and highlight their attributes.
The female has made her choice.
But not all relationships between trees and their inhabitants are mutually beneficial. There is an invisible war between some trees and herbivores in the Amazon basin.
And a tiny insect plays a huge part in this, the leafcutter ant. When she cuts a leaf, her jaws vibrate
1,000 times a second.
The worker ants do not eat the leaves.
They carry them back to their nest.
They use scent trails to mark their paths. The scent is so strong that it is enough for each ant to produce just 1/1000th of a gram of it. The leaf pieces sometimes weigh 20 times the body weight of the ants. These little powerhouses operate up to 100 meters from their nest. Converted to human dimensions, that would correspond to 1 ton that we would have to haul over 25 kilometers. On top of that, small ants sit on the leaves, which are supposed to protect the wearer from parasites.
This is not the only danger.
A special fungus kills the ant and lets its fruiting bodies grow from its head to infect other ants with the spores.
The underground nest is huge.
Up to 8 million ants can be found here. The leaves are brought into chambers where they are crushed by harvesters. On the plant material, the ants grow a special fungus.
It is the source of food for the entire colony.
If the ants bring leaves that the fungus cannot tolerate, then it will let you know.
Then the ants bring him other leaves.
However, we do not know exactly how this communication works. The queen weighs 1,500 times as much as the little workers who tend the mushroom garden. It alone produces the eggs from which the different worker ants develop.
The colony is always busy.
New chambers are being built to create even more mushroom gardens.
And the excavation is transported away.
The ants have found a very sophisticated way to deal with poisonous leaves.
But it is by no means the only one.
The sloth has developed its own method of finding edible greenery.
It is proceeding very carefully. Sloths are so sluggish because their food has low nutritional value.
In order to save energy, the metabolism works very slowly. The sloth uses its keen sense of smell to find non-poisonous leaves.
And the boy learns from his mother. There is more activity in the harpy's nest. The chick has hatched. The mother now mainly takes care of the young.
For example, by spinning in the shade of the tropical sun. The young spends almost half a year in the nest until it grows to the size of its parents.
During this time, the parents always bring fresh branches over to protect them from insects. The mother noticed something.
It's not the sloth, it's a howler monkey. The monkey is just one of many that the chick will be presented with in the next few months. Only the largest trees in the forest can support the giant nests of Herpia.
One of the bird's favorite trees is Brazil nut trees. They are among the giants of the forest, with correspondingly large fruits. The fruits weigh more than 2 kilograms, and since the tree grows up to 50 meters high, they fall very deep.
The fruit is extremely hard, and for a long time people wondered which animal could open it. It's a rodent, the agouti.
It eats the Brazil nuts and also helps in the propagation of new trees.
With its sharp, gnawing teeth and a strong jaw,
The agouti opens the shell.
it requires persistence to reach the nuts inside. The agouti eats some, then buries leftovers for later.
Fortunately, the agouti doesn't always remember exactly where it hid its nuts. For the tree, the agouti is something like a well-paid gardener. The large seeds sometimes rest in the soil for more than a year before germinating. But the agouti is not the only animal here with special connections to the Brazil nut tree.
This poison dart frog produces its poisonous skin secretion from the ants and mites it eats.
Originally, these insects obtain the poison from the leaves of the trees. The frog forms a concentrate from it. The female frog lays her eggs on the moist forest floor.
The male cares for eggs and keeps them clean. Once the tadpoles have hatched, they are moved to another location. The tadpole sticks to the mucus on the frog's back.
One night after another, the frog carries to empty Brazil nutshells. Make sure there is an adequate supply of food for the necessary occasion. In approximately 2 months, the cubs are expected to venture out of their secluded Brazil nut pools once more. These are sophisticated, fully developed poison arrow frogs.
Surviving in the Amazon rainforest is not easy.
A substantial portion of its resources is either toxic or simply not consumable. The howler monkeys often remain motionless for prolonged hours, digesting the tough and barely digestible leaves. At midnight, the rainforest changes its character. Now all those who have been hiding from the light of day are coming out. You will also find other fruits than during the day. The nocturnal four-eyed marsupial rat is making preparations to navigate the nighttime hours.
She's an omnivore.
Guided by an exceptional sense of smell, it confidently maneuvers in the complete darkness of the rainforest. Similar to bats, unable to resist the allure of fallen fruit in the jungle. Marsupial rats must rush urgently if they hope to retrieve anything else from the jungle floor. Once the bump rat has vanished into the shadows, the bats quickly return to their feast. They are so busy that they don't even notice that the bump rat was only gone for a short time. The Amazon is a mysterious realm where countless secrets unfold beneath its vast canopy. Events transpire both in the depth of night and within the countless hidden recesses of the jungle.
But one thing is equally noticeable to everyone: the weather.
In the Amazon region, up to 2.5 meters of precipitation per square meter falls every year.
The towering trees play a crucial role in shaping these conditions.
Almost half of the rain comes from the forest. Vast quantities of water vapor escape the foliage, rising to create expansive new formations of rain clouds. In many ways, this remarkable forest crafts its own intricate weather systems. The heavy rain is dangerous for the young harpy. If the cub gets too wet, it cools down and dies. Rain fundamentally transforms the forests and rivers of the Amazon region.
The water rises, the rivers overflow their banks and flood the forest.
The rains are so heavy that the forest becomes a world between air and water. The leafcutter ants now have a problem. The rain washes away their scents. Stripped of their guiding signals, the ants are left disoriented and unable to find their way. Their clearly ordered world dissolves in the rain.
And it gets worse.
It isn't only the constant pounding rain that proves to be a disturbance to the ants' lives. The ever-increasing floodwaters from the overflowing rivers sweep many of them away mercilessly.
The water continues to spread in the forest. About 250,000 square kilometers of forest have been flooded.
This size surpasses the combined areas of Austria, Bavaria, and Switzerland altogether.
Nothing here is as it was.
New habitats are being created everywhere. At its peak, the floodwater extends nearly 20 kilometers deep into the forest territory.
Swarms of small fish roam through the flooded forest.
These fish find refuge between the leaves scattered on the forest floor, a terrain once utilized by ants for transporting burdens. The buckling male is irresistibly drawn towards the appealing presence of a female counterpart. It boasts a larger physique and emits distinctly perceptible signals towards its intended target. But appearances are deceptive. Buckling is playing with his life. A predatory tetra. It imitates the females of other fish species to attract its prey. With the water, also larger hunters penetrate into the forest.
The fringed turtle lives at the junction of water and forest. She has a special technique to catch fish. It helps her to look like an old piece of wood covered with algae.
The camouflage is perfect. Fish nibble unaware on her shell.
The turtle's only limitation, it needs to take a breath every now and then.
For this reason, the fringed turtle can only live in the shallow edges of flood areas.
The turtle goes back into position and waits. For the fish, the end usually comes as quickly as it is unexpected.
The steadily rising water levels are putting some of the slower forest dwellers in trouble. The sloth has to go from tree to tree in its search for the least poisonous leaves. Luckily, sloths are amazingly good swimmers. Nevertheless, the mother and her offspring can only swim short distances between the trees. They are slow movers, and their fur must not be completely soaked with water. The wet fur is probably also to the sloth's advantage. Green algae like to settle in it, which offer additional camouflage. Water levels continue to rise. The Spitzmermännchen can look for a nice place to spawn in peace. It doesn't take long for it to pique female interest. The male guards his small territory below a branch. Spray tetras are the only fish that lay their eggs on leaves above the waterline. Their pairing requires extraordinary coordination and perfect timing. The fish eggs are kept safer on the leaves than in the water, where predators are waiting for them everywhere. The only downside is that they have to be kept moist all the time. This task is performed by the male. The eggs develop quickly, and after only 2 days the young hatch. They fall from the leaves into the forest underwater. In the Amazon it rains more than 200 days a year. All the animals of the forest have to deal with this. The agouti remains in the high forest near the Brazil nut trees and its buried supplies.
The rockcocks also stay away from the flooded area. And when the Akuti roams around in your ballet arena, you don't appreciate it at all. Like rock roosters, woolly monkeys prefer fresh fruit.
But they are not always available.
But some trees even bear fruit when surrounded by water for miles. The rubber tree seeds seem to be lost in the masses of water.
But the opposite is the case.
The tambaqui now stands ready under the rubber trees.
With its strong jaws and teeth, it can break even the hardest seeds. The unusual relationship between fish and tree benefits both sides. The tambaqui does not crush all seeds.
And on the detour through his digestive system, they spread all over the forest underwater. During the peak of the floods, the Farsia forest is not a safe place. The Pirinoku belongs to the primitive bone-tonguers that have been hunting their prey since the time of the dinosaurs. And it has a relative, another primitive fish that haunts the underwater world of the forest.
However, he is after a completely different prey.
On the little creatures stuck in the trunks and branches of the flooded trees. With a length of 1 meter, the arowana is smaller than the pirarucu, but no less impressive in the forest.
Through the flood, he gets closer and closer to his prey in the branches.
During floods, the arowanas can draw from the full.
For months, the treetops are accessible to you.
But at some point that too will come to an end. The water gradually withdraws. This is a dangerous time for the fish of the forest. All too easily they could get caught in pools. Many fish are dying. And the four-eyed marsupial rat takes advantage of the moment. But not everyone is helpless during the dry season. Feeling like a fish on dry land, the predatory tetra slips across the forest floor back to the river and thus escapes certain death. The Bachlinger also chose to flee. They use their powerful tail muscles to catapult themselves through the air. In this exhausting way, they jump over the forest floor until they reach the water again. The temporary forest dwellers have returned to their streams, rivers or lakes. The Pirarucu father guards his offspring. The young hatched with the rising water and grew quickly in the flooded forest.
The monster fish now guards hundreds of its young, which are already breathing air.
This ability is important because the oxygen content in warm waters can be very low.
Perish.
For 3 months, boys remain with their father. The male secretes an attractant that keeps the young close to him. By their first year, they'll be 3 feet in size.
Few of the young fish survive.
But those that do manage grow into the largest freshwater fish in South America. Fish are completely at the mercy of the relentless rhythm of flooding. But the change between rainy and dry seasons affects all animals in the Amazon region.
The Javier brings the last meal to the nest. The baby, now 5 months old, is nearly fully developed and growing rapidly. Throughout the extended nesting phase, his parents provided meals of monkeys and sloths, used leaves to fend off insects, and shielded him from the relentless rainfall.
Now it's time for him to learn to fly.
However, the young still needs to strengthen the muscles of its wings. The realm of the harpy is one of the most complex habitats in the world. Towering trees hold the answers to numerous hidden mysteries and secrets. At the heart of unending symbiotic relationships, intricate networks, and essential cycles, the trees play a pivotal role. This is the most extraordinarily diverse and dynamic floodplain found anywhere on the planet Earth.